MsSavvyPro Show is just for you, empowering you to live the purpose and passion within by helping you pursue your hopes, dreams, and goals through empowerment, goal setting, relationships, and so much more. It's empowering the super person in you. Be encouraged, be empowered, be savvy. And now, the MsSavvyPro Show.
Hello, everybody. It is your girl, MsSavvyPro, also known as Patrice Jackson. We are here back with MsSavvyPro Show with an amazing guest. I'm so super excited. This is one of the people that has been there through my podcast journey. As you know, we are back, refreshed, renewed, after a very long hiatus. I'm sorry, you guys, but, we're back with a great guest. But, yes, he has been there for me, answered questions for me. I've been on his show. He has been someone that I can, look to and be my role model for one of the things, what my role model for things. So I'm super excited to introduce Mr. Kerry Hines. And I can't wait for him to tell you about who he is, because although I'm talking about his podcast and his show, he can tell you that I think he's really close to a very big number in episodes, but he does so many other things. So, Kerry, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you. It is very much an honor to be on the MsSavvyPro Show. I feel like I've made it to the top. For us, myself, Kerry Hines, and the HaiRadio Morning Show and the HaiRadio brand, which is just one component of what I do, but it's a big one. And it has been very important. It's probably had the greatest influence of pretty much on my platforms, and where we've been able to make an impression on everyone from entrepreneurs of all walks of life, to those who are specializing in the hair and beauty industry, which has been my stock and trade for several decades. And I'm just very honored. And then I kind of parlayed that into a big platform with my own hair products called Kerrapy, Kerrapy. That means Kerry and hair therapy. And if that's not enough, I also, of course, started a great magazine. Right now it's online digital, called Afrolock, Afrolock, Afrolock Magazine. And I'm so proud of it, because what it really exemplifies is that it is a lock on Afro culture. So that magazine is a lifestyle brand, which is so funny, because when I created it, I had already been working in the area with magazines like Upscale. I had been one of their graphic artists, and also produced their radio network. So I was already familiar in that space. And so I decided to launch our own brand, and wanted to do something that was organic to me, and kind of spoke to the things that were important to me. And so there was born Afrolock Magazine, and it received so much critical acclaim, and the folks really gravitated towards it, mainly because of the cover designs that I created. Folks, a lot of them, I should say, a lot of folks know that I do host the radio show, but they didn't realize that I'm also a graphics designer. I'm also a marketing person, a publicist. I check a whole lot of boxes. And so that's one of the reasons that I've had the staying power that I've had here at, on my radio show and beyond. So I'm very proud of it, very proud of the work.
You should be proud of it. I mean, like you said,
Thank you.
the magazine is amazing, and the way you kind of like put the forefront some of the issues and things that we, not only are concerned with, but you do it with, like you said, wonderful images, great stories,
Yeah.
and you feature so many different people that really make the industry work, make it happen. Like
Yeah.
you show the behind the scenes of, oh wow, I didn't know that person did that, and oh that was so, you look at things in different movies and things you're like, oh wow, that's how that happened. That
Yeah.
person was the person who made that work. So let's talk about the HaiRadio first, please.
Sure.
The show is amazing. So you are in New York, where it's aired from, but of course you can listen to it anywhere. But you actually have some co-hosts, and you talk about different
Yeah.
issues as well as entertainment. So how
Right.
did that kind of like? How did you start HaiRadio? Like, what was the thought process when you did that?
Sure. Well, thank you for that. That's a very good question. And first, I do want to shout out to my amazing co-stars, Nicole Marie, who is an elected official down in Water Valley, Mississippi. She's a big part of her local community. And Michael Hopkins, who is an accredited claims agent charged by the Veterans Administration to assist veterans with their claims and pension type claim. So in other words, he helps them to add to their bottom line each month so that they can have a better quality of life. So all that to say is that we're very much all about hair, beauty, and community. And so for myself, being in New York, I've been appointed to my community board, which represents over 200,000 folks just in my area. So when we say we're about hair, beauty, and community, we are about hair, beauty, and community. And so how did I start the broadcast? Well, okay, I'm going to tell that story, but I warned you, it's a very good story, but well, I'll tell you a little bit. I had already been out on the West Coast, even though I'm born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I moved out to the West Coast in the Los Angeles area, so out by Hollywood and all that other wonderful good stuff, and met up with a gentleman who kind of helped to change my life, who was one of the TV stars from a program called Amos and Andy Show. And Mr. Stewart, and you heard of that show? Okay, well, he had a theater in L.A. called the Ebony Showcase Theater. It was the oldest black performing theater in the country at the time. And so I was very honored and got to know him and his wife and daughter and very well. And he allowed me to put on a children's theater show based on characters I created out in California called the Fluff the Bear Show. And that's how I got started from there. And I sold my cassettes and things like that at that time. That's how far back we go. I'm all over, not just the country, but the world. And took that. I got a publicist out in Hollywood and Boulevard, and was in the magazines through the airlines. They had a monthly magazine that used to be in the seat backs. They still do. I just flew the other day, yesterday, as a matter of fact. And they still have the magazines in the seat backs. And they put me in there. So I flew. My magazine piece was in all of the magazines that was all over that airline for an entire 30 days. So I was so excited because they change each month. Yeah, but they did the big story. And when I flew back to the East Coast, they announced that I was on board. So I felt like a celebrity. And that was my humble beginning. That magazine issue, to this day, the airline that I used to work for way back in the day was called TWA, and they were huge. They've been taken over by American Airlines. But back then, so they still have a TWA museum in St. Louis. And my magazine, that magazine that I was in then, hangs in that museum in St. Louis, Missouri.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, thank you. I've always had, I've just done a lot. And so that's how I kind of started, and I took that money from those folks ordering my children's cassettes, and they had just, the Grammy folks, the Grammys that you know, they had, back in New York, had started a children's category. So I flew back here to be part of that. So as a member of NARIS. While I was out in California, I also, the folks out there, as I mentioned, I had publicists and all of that. So they were in like I said, they were on Sunset Boulevard in the same building as Atlantic Records way back then. So they got me onto, they got a deal. They struck a deal to have my children's cassette sold on a commercial network. And the network was a radio network. And they ran my commercial on their network, and that was around 875 stations around the country at the time. And that's how my cassettes were sold. So imagine being on 875 stations. And,
that had to be an amazing feeling.
It was, but it also brought me a great windfall financially. So then I took that money and came back home to the East Coast and opened up office space in Newark, New Jersey. And that was mid-'90s, and when I decided to I love, producing the children's radio platform and doing the children's work, but here comes Radio Disney, which, so I preceded Radio Disney with the idea. And then, so I kind of moved away from that space and into providing content, creating content for the whole family and adults. And the next show I created was called Center Stage. And I named that after a program that I was on out in Marymount College out in L.A. that invited me to be a guest on their radio show, kind of like what you did. And so I decided to create Center Stage and came back, like I said, to the East Coast and did just that out of Newark. With folks like CeCe Peniston was my first celebrity guest. You guys remember her from Finally song back then, and Keep On Walking, all those hits. And so CeCe was my first guest, and I kept on going from there. And so that's where my entertainment side came from. And then I decided to kind of do something. I met up with a friend who was in the hair industry as a stylist, and I decided to go ahead and create something called the HaiRadio Show. And that's kind of how I started. Folks laughed because in those days there was no radio talk. There was no talk on radio, on terrestrial AM or FM about hair. And so a person's, they just couldn't understand. They couldn't visualize, but I could. And I knew that there was a space for that. Now, it took the rest of the world over 2 decades to catch up with me. So I'm always a forward thinker, very creative and originally creative. I'm not copying off people. I'm very much a very unique talent, I'd say, safely and honestly. And so I've been able to build up a following because of that. And we have positively influenced folks, as I was saying at the top of your segment. And so I just love it. And that's how I kind of started. And here we are. Who would think that what I've created is still here today, and I'm still in the space providing the best content and the very best on hair, beauty, and community talk, and the longest-running hair and beauty radio show in the history of broadcasting. We started this, and we're going to finish it.
Wow. What episode are you on now?
We're closing in on 1,000 episodes plus, and so I just want to say, and I appreciate you asking that question because not just 1,000, that's a lot. I don't know too many folks who can do 1,000 of anything, but 1,000 episodes, right? And each episode is 3 hours in length. So that is why I have such a cachet, such a long, vault of incredible audio content. Again, the most successful hair and beauty radio show in all of broadcasting. So I'm very honored. And again, it's not just me, it's my entire team. It's our incredible guests who've been on, again, everybody from Beyonce's dad to we've interviewed Dionne Warwick, Melba Moore, Tony Terry, Allison Williams, celebrity superstar Prince's hairstylist, political folks. As you know, Mayor Blackwell was on again recently from out in the Cleveland, Ohio area, to mayors, to former mayors, to I was on with the White House when the Obamas were in and spoke with Michelle's stylist. I've chatted with just about everybody you can think of, whether it was, and literally big-time storytellers. I remember having just so many persons on, but one of my favorites was the guy who worked with Norman Lear, who we just lost not all that long ago at CBS. And, so he created Good Times and all of that. But what a lot of folks didn't know was that there was an African-American, two gentlemen, one who played Lionel Jefferson on the All in the Family and the Jeffersons. Right, exactly. The first Lionel, he and his colleague who appeared right here on the HaiRadio Morning, on my show, the HaiRadio Morning Show, was so great. He came on and talked about his collaboration and how they took the idea to Norman Lear. And so I was happy. He's the gentleman who, you've seen his name, Eric Monty, on the episodes of Good Times as well. He did the movie Cooley High, which goes back a bit, but it's a part of every African-American at that time. It is a classic. So I was so honored. So when I returned to the radio world several years back after taking a short break, he was the first to welcome me back. So I was so excited, and he had prepared something very special. And the New York Daily newspaper welcomed me back. They did a big whole-page article on me in the local newspaper. So I was so honored, and gave me wall plaque and all of that. So I still have all of that. And I've just been able to accomplish big things and just keep on going. Every day it's a new journey. Each broadcast is different. I don't have two broadcasts ever that are exactly the same. It's impossible. So to produce something every single day that's informative, entertaining, and just steep in culture and community, it's just incredible, and just the best folks again involved. And I got to shout out to folks who advertise with us. I currently have some folks that we're working with that just are doing some incredible work out there. Bobsa.org with Sam Inan, and he has this whole thing with You Go Girl, which is the letter U. Yuko Girl, and they're doing these big things where you wear their T-shirts and they pay you. So that's one thing.
Wow.
And then, And then this other brand, which is kind of an emerging brand that I just discovered called Biofi. BiofiGlobal.com is their site, and it's weird. I'm going to spell it because it's a great name. It's very different. It's B like boy, E like Edward, Y like yellow, O like Oscar, F like Frank, I like India, global.com, BiofiGlobal.com. And speaking of great hair products and hair talk and all of that, they do all of that, but they do so much more in the way even their own back-end financial processors. They have so many other things that support the work. They really do. That supports folks out there and supporting everybody and dealing with everybody. And they're kind of headed by a gentleman I've gotten to know in recent times, Dr. Bernard Evans, who is a legend in his own right. And he's been on my broadcast of the HaiRadio Morning Show and has a great team. So we're doing some great work. I've just taken on adding some new hairstylists to the program, as well as some new folks that you haven't met yet. But boy, oh boy, they're going to knock your socks off in days to come. So you don't want to miss an episode of the HaiRadio Morning Show. Yeah.
Yes, you guys.
So
I'll make
not
sure that
nice?
I do put it is. I'll make sure that I put all the information in the details box so that you can listen in. And so, Kerry, tell me this. What advice do you give to aspiring people who want to have their own talk show or podcast, or even because you do so much on the back end of the show as well? What if they just want to be like the producer shows? What advice would you give them?
Well, one of the things I say is which you know, and that is to find a mentor in the industry. And, that's someone who is an expert at what they do. And even if it's not about podcasting or radio, and you're looking to forge ahead in a career in a different field, seek those out who are doing, and find them, that you see that that's where you want to eventually get to. And I think that that's a great way to begin. And for those of you who are interested in radio, podcasting, broadcasting promotions, I have a great deal of folks that I mentor from around the world, literally. With the program, I provide classes one-on-one on everything from being a voiceover artist, which the folks that you hear when you turn on a radio or TV show, to, teaching about sales, marketing, public relations, and everything that I do, and live events. I also have my own live events. And so I'm super excited about that. I have some events coming up, not all that off in the future, down in Georgia as well as around the country. And you can bring us where you are if you're interested. So just reach out to us. But, yeah, I'm super excited. So I tell folks, again, find a mentor, let that be your guide, and also do things that are organic and that you find that are a natural passion for you. Don't try to imitate others. You want to do something that really matters to you, because that's how you last. That's how I've been able to forge ahead and still have staying power, because I always knew that this is what I wanted to do and loved doing it, and figured out how to turn it into a business. And that's really the secret, So I just want to say, and besides that, for folks who are looking to really pursue careers, whether you're an entrepreneur in field or endeavor, to those who are interested in radio, well, the first step is get my book, How to Get Rich in the Hair Business. Yeah, it's available. It's out there on Amazon. Again, How to Get Rich in the Hair Business is available in paperback. It's also available as an ebook, and I just not long ago put out an audio version that we have an incredible voiceover artist. You're going to love him reading you my story. So it's so pleasurable, and it really speaks literally to you. So, so when you say what can folks do to what advice, those are some of the things I would suggest that you do.
Wow. Yes, those are great things. Having a mentor, one, because when you have a mentor, whoever your mentor is, they've already navigated the challenging roads, roads that will come within the industry. So, and not only that, because you can go to them and you can say, hey, this is what I'm doing, and you'll be able to pull upon their expertise and their knowledge and see what will be the best thing to do. They can help you kind of stay on focus as well. So having a mentor or coach, I will always say, is really important to have someone, regardless of any industry you're in. That's really important. I'm glad you touched upon that. And then the second thing he said, which was super important, okay, be authentic. Be you. Be who you are, because when people show up, they're showing up to see something different. If you copy someone else, they could have went to that person, right? So you need to be authentic. And don't get me wrong, I know there's nothing new under the sun, which is so true. However, you can take some things and you just make it your own and put your own spin on it and put your own love into it, because that is what people see. One of the things that I always tell my clients, for Savvy Professionals, all my Savvy Professionals, is that facts tell, stories sell, right? So if you could tell that story and be authentic, just like Kerry did when he said how he came to be where he is today, those are stories. Those are things that no one else can duplicate, right? Those are, these are his own journey, his own history, and those are the things that made him who he is today. So, Kerry, tell us, please, what is next for you and HaiRadio and Afrolock and all the great things that you do?
Oh, that's a very good question. Well, I'm going to continue intersecting with folks like yourself and so many others out there. I'll be going out. I'm thinking towards a big tour, which we are starting down in Atlanta in just a few months away. And what that's going to consist of, I also am an instructor, something that's a little known fact. I don't think I even disclosed this on my own radio show, so I'm going to give you an exclusive here, Miss Savvy Pro. But I am also an instructor. So when I talk emergency care for the hair salon and barbershop and event givers and just folks in general, I teach CPR to folks as well as first aid. And so that's something I'll be doing at a lot of the different live shows and all those other wonderful places. I'm certified as an instructor, so I didn't just take a class on it. I'm certified to teach through one of the major organizations that you guys know. So I'm very, very proud of that. And I look forward to traveling around the country in addition to talking about hair and beauty and community. So that's kind of what's next. And if you have an interest in it, please, I encourage you to go to the HaiRadio Morning Show. We have our own business page on Facebook. You can go to my website at HaiRadio.com. That's pronounced HaiRadio with just one R in the middle, my own website, or AfrolockMagazine.com. And again, AFROLOCK, because we have a lock on Afroculture. So you can go to AfrolockMagazine.com and just reach out to us. I mean, I am excited always to be honored with what we're doing. And, and if it's okay with you, Miss MsSavvyPro, I'd love to give our new telephone number, because a lot of folks in the past have all had a previous number, and so they may not be aware. And I would love to take an opportunity to make sure that you update your records and your phone with our new telephone number. And that number happens to be 862-277-0686. Again, it's 862-277-0686. And it is my great honor to be with you today on the show. Awesome job.
Thank you so much for coming on. We'll make sure that we put that number, the new number, in the details so that you can just copy and paste, listen to the call. To the call in and listen to such an amazing show. So there's two more things that we have to take care of. First question is, my question is, if you could sit down to dinner with anybody in the world, who would it be?
I'm gonna have to say you.
Okay.
You have a certain something about yourself, and I think that there are big things that are ahead. So I think you've made it to the top of my list.
Well, I will have to make that happen very soon. I need to come down to New York and experience your New York.
There you go. Awesome. We'd love to have you here.
Yes, very much. So, Kerry, like I said, I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise, your knowledge,
my pleasure.
Your journey, because it's truly shows that your purpose has been to be there for the masses and with what you do.
Thank you.
And the invitation is always
Thank
open
you so much.
to come back. All right, you guys. And I want to thank my audience for listening in and joining the journey of MsSavvyPro and coming back as we dive into amazing more people who are pursuing their purpose and their passion. I will see you next Tuesday. All right, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And make sure you know the purpose.
Right.
Thanks for listening to the MsSavvyPro Show. And remember, there's always peace in purpose.